Good morning, everyone. We are live again. Before we get into anything fantasy football or football related, it is September 11th, a big day in the USA. So we're going to take a brief moment of silence here and remember the ones that lost their lives and continue to struggle with the aftermath of what happened on September 11th. Okay, we are live. Never forget what happened that day. Always remember it was a big day in history in general. But week one is here. Fantasy football is back. It's trophy hunting season. It's ring chasing season. It's bench player dropping, picking up the best streaming option. Inactives, starts, sits, Kyle Pitts. Man, I don't care if my wife is sitting in front of me showing me her tits. Football season is back, baby, and there's no place that you would rather be on 10 a.m. this Sunday morning sitting here with Stefan and me. uSTADIUM Fantasy Live is back for season 2, ready to pop you in your ear hole. I'm your host, Chris, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Stefan, the DP lover. That's Damian Pierce. Get your minds out of the gutter. Barrashaj. Let's go. Let's go. How you doing, Steph?
Man, I heard that, 12 hours ago with the Bruce Buffer watching the Nate Diaz, Tony Ferguson fight. It really wasn't a fight, I thought. But, man, I am so happy to be back. I'm so happy to just have something on this notebook that's not just fake stuff that I'm writing because I'm bored for 6 months.
Exactly. Mocks that you do in leagues, and then you get one haywire pick, and it just sets the mock off completely. Complete waste of time at the end of the day. But we are here, week one. We already had the great game, Buffalo versus the Rams on Thursday. I mean, Buffalo looks like an absolute wagon.
Man, it's you look at Buffalo, and I'm not going to be the one to shy away. I really thought the Rams were going to have that game at least somewhat handled.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm LA, if I'm a fan of the Rams, I mean, I know it's week one. I like to overreact on everything that I look at, but I'm looking at these guys, looking at the Bills, and it's an early Super Bowl favorite for a reason. There's a reason that they're heavily favored, that they were, minus 2.5-point dogs, but lay the smackdown on them like that.
Ooh. Buffalo looked ready, man. Buffalo looked ready. LA, not so much. They didn't really play any of their starters during the preseason. We know that Buffalo had some of those tune-up drives with their starters. Now, is that a rest versus rust kind of thing? He's like, who knows? We just know that LA Rams didn't look ready. And as always, we are here to answer your questions. If you got a questions, drop them in the chat. We got one already from Joseph. Hey guys, half point PPR, 2 flex, pick 2, George Pickens, Michael Carter, Dotson, and Stevenson. I'm going to put Stevenson as the lead guy in front of the other 3 in terms of production. Pickens, I'm not too sure what we're going to see there in Pittsburgh. I want the week he was nice in the preseason, but again, he's playing against mostly tomato cans in the 2s and 3s. So let's see what he can do when he's playing against 1s, when he's game planned against. That's the stuff that I want to see. So for me, it would go Stevenson and then Carter, and then I'm going Pickens and then or Dotson and then Pickens. How about you, Steph?
I mean, you've got me with the Stevenson thing. I've never seen Belichick rave about a guy so much in offseason than Ramondre. But the second guy I'm looking at, I'm not, like you said, the Pickens pick. It's like he's there. We know what he can be, but again, he's been playing against a bunch of garbage cans. So of course you're gonna, catch a few here and there. I honestly think though Jahan Dotson might be that sneaky play, the receiver too, because we've seen Curtis Samuel has not been the guy that he was in Carolina in the back, the 1,000-yard all-purpose season. Comes to Washington, it's just injury riddled. He can't get on the field. He can't stay on the field. So I think Dotson is a better flex. I just don't trust Carter. I think Breece Hall is going to get. I know it's the Ravens. They're a really good run defense. They're a good defense in general. I just think that they're going to bottle up that offense a little bit. I think it's going to be more of like a Garrett Wilson / Elijah Moore kind of a thing with the tight ends involved. But I mean, if I had to, it'd be Stevenson and Dotson. And the Dotson is more of like the wild card dart. It's just I don't know what Pickens is going to give me with Kenny Pickett or Trubisky or whoever's slinging the rock. Michael Carter's the RB1, they say, but then again, I've been bitten before, So just Stevenson and Dotson, 0.5 PPR. I think the ceiling for both those guys are pretty high for week 1.
Perfect. All right. Here we go, Jordan Head. How do we feel about Drake London today? He was questionable all week. He's been cleared to play week 1. I personally don't like starting any wide receivers week 1's rookie wide receivers against that stout New Orleans defense. So I'm not starting Drake London. He could have the opportunity to have that garbage time production if it's available, if it's a big blowout or anything like that. So I'm not bullish on him in week 1, especially just because of the matchup is where I'm going to be holding him back and not really excited to have him in my lineups. But that's where I'm sitting with Drake London today. He is a talent. He's a first round draft pick wide receiver. He's the wide receiver 1 in Atlanta, probably behind Kyle Pitts. But Kyle Pitts, as we know, tight end, maybe not for long, but he's
the unicorn.
Yeah, exactly. So just make sure we are brought to you guys by uSTADIUM and the uSTADIUM app. We want to thank everybody that's working hard at uSTADIUM to make this kind of stuff happen. Splash is behind the 1s and 2s, pulling up the questions, dropping the graphics, getting everything ready, and we could not appreciate him more than we do. Thank you, Splash, and thank you, Henry, and everyone at the graphics team who helps out with the graphics, the thirds. You guys will see as we go on here. Brendan, hey guys, you like Zach Ertz or Hunter Henry at tight end today? I know Ertz is a little banged up. I'll let you take this one there, brother.
Really quickly, for that Drake London one, I do like Drake London a little bit more than you. I know you're a Saints fan, but I think Drake London.
I try to keep my bias out of it.
Yeah, your bias is showing a little bit. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see week 2 when we're playing against you guys one-on-one, but we'll talk that another one. I do think Drake London, receiver 1, you don't draft a guy. I know he had the knee injury against the Lions. I think he's more past that. I think it's actually going to be his day. I do think for a flex receiver 3, I don't see why not. I mean, he is the guy there. They drafted him for that reason. So don't be shy of starting him with a questionable injury. Was scary. I mean, I'm scared of injuries too, but I think London's that guy. And then Hunter Henry. You got to give me Hunter Henry. This guy is going to be Mac Jones' his best friend, his Cooper Kupp, his breakfast guy. Like, this is going to be the guy that will get him out of situations. Zach Ertz is good. I don't trust him with that injury. And you got Rondell Moore is out. So you're looking at AJ Green. You're looking at Marquise Brown. You're looking at give me Taylor McBride, right? Or Terry McBride, the tight end that they drafted out of Colorado State.
Oh, yeah, McBride, yeah.
Yep, so they've got him as well. So I think Ertz might be on a pitch count because, I mean, that injury didn't really pass him. They were still, like, day-to-day with everything. So I would go Hunter Henry. I think he's due for a top 10 season. Volume will be there, for a tight end especially. Zach Ertz, hold him off this week, maybe next week. See how that injury comes along. But you've got a good situation in both of them.
Yep. Check your waivers as well. Guys that are projected to have good games today. Gerald Everett with the Los Angeles Chargers. David Njoku with the Cleveland Browns. Jacoby Brissett absolutely loves his tight ends. From Swa, should I go Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray this week? Also, which 2 wide receivers? Jerry Jeudy, Garrett Wilson, Scary Terry, MT, or Amon-Ra St. Brown? You got some studs there, buddy. You're getting a good situation. I mean, Lamar and Kyler, it's a toss-up. I'm gonna take the more talented rusher, so give me Lamar Jackson there over Kyler Murray this week. And then, I mean, Kyler Murray's. I mean, Lamar Jackson's playing to get paid, right? He is betting on himself. So I'm excited as a Lamar Jackson fantasy manager. I'm excited for the year of Lamar Jackson. And 2 wide receivers. I got Judy and even Judy's tight. I'm going to take Scary Terry for sure because he's going to see the volume there in Washington. And then for me, it's a toss up of Michael Thomas, Amon-Ra, and Judy. And I'm going to go. I'm going to go Jerry Judy. I think that comeback game, that revenge game with Russ Wilson. And by the way, at uSTADIUM, we have a revenge themed promo going on. If Joe Flacco against the Ravens, Russell Wilson against the Seattle Seahawks, and Baker Mayfield against the Cleveland Browns win, your deposit is 10 times. If 2 of them win, it's 5 times your deposit. And if just 1 wins, it's 2 times your deposit. So, I mean, deposit, if 1 of them wins, you're doubling your money. If 2 of them wins, you're 5 timesing your money. And if they all win, that's 10 times, baby. 10 times. 10 times your deposit. You deposit $100.
It's $1,000.
That's $1,000. I mean, you are banking on Joe Flacco and Baker Mayfield to get you there. But
I mean, we've seen worse. Yeah. Like I've banked on a lot worse, aka Sam Darnold, Mark Sanchez, Zach Wilson.
Yeah. All right. Ryan Potts, give me your QB1, RB1, wide receiver 1, and tight end 1 this week. He dropped Russ, Derrick Henry, Cortland Sutton, and of course the stud wide receiver tight end, target monster himself, Travis Kelce there in Kansas City. You want to go first?
Yeah, I got this actually ready to rally off. I'm going to start with tight end. I'm going Kyle Pitts. I think the year of the unicorn is going to happen. I think the receiver 1, I mean, Stephon Diggs had a very good showing out for everyone. But I think with George Kittle out, this is going to be I'm not a big fan of this guy, but I think Deebo Samuel is in for one of the easiest matchups, and the Chicago Bears are just abysmal. I'm sorry if you're a Bears fan, but that team is probably going to be the only 0-16, 0-17 team on pace this year. So I got to go with Deebo Samuel as a receiver 1, and then the running back 1. This is a tough one, but I've got to go, and I don't like to go with your team, but Alvin Kamara. I feel like this guy is set up to have a great 2022, especially because we know there's a suspension looming next year. We know that it's going to hit him. But I think this game 1, I think Jameis, the whole team is healthy. Your Saints are healthy for the first time in almost over a year. So I think Alvin Kamara comes out, puts up RB1 numbers. And, of course, the QB1 of the day. This one's kind of a dark horse. You're going to kind of look at me like I'm crazy, but I think today the one guy that's going to have the day that no one's going to know, and I think that's Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence finishes this week. I just feel like that Commanders defense has nothing. The defensive line is non-existent right now. They have Chase Young re-aggravated ACL. I really think that Trevor Lawrence, as underrated as he was, finishes. If QB1, we say what? Is like QB1 range, or are we talking the actual QB1?
Finish QB1.
Give me it. Book it. Fine. Book it.
Top quarterback at the end of the
I think Trevor Lawrence puts up one of the best games. I think we finally see what he's capable of without his grinding buddy, but not the guy who loves to go to the Jacksonville clubs after they lose a game in Urban Meyer. So give me Lawrence, Kamara, Deebo, and Pitts. Those are my guys this week.
I like it. Good list. I mean, other than Trevor Lawrence, you can go on the uSTADIUM app, as you can see on the screen right now. If you hit the unicorn icon, that's where the fantasy takes will be held. You can go in there and you can disagree with Steph. You can disagree with Splash. You can see Splashes there. For me, my QB1 of the week, finish QB1. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts. I like the matchup against Detroit. It's very favorable. He's got new weapon in A.J. Brown. He's got Devonta Smith there as a sophomore. The defense is stout. We know he can use his legs, so the opportunity for him to finish as the QB1 at the end of the week is there. So I'm going to go Jalen Hurts as the QB1 at the end of the week. RB1, I'm going to agree with you there and pick Alvin Kamara. I mean, there's been a lot said about him this offseason with the suspension and whatnot, but he's not suspended. He's ready to go. no injury designation, the game plan, the rivalry matchup against the Falcons. The Falcons defense isn't exactly known to be that good. So I'm going to go with Alvin Kamara as my running back one. Wide receiver one is where it gets a little juicy. There's a bunch of guys that can do it. This week, the Deebo Samuel was a great pick. Great pick there with Kittle being out. But I'm going to go Justin Jefferson versus the Green Bay Packers. I know the matchup and the ability of the Packers defense. I was in the space, the fantasy space on the uSTADIUM fantasy Twitter yesterday, and I was listening to Splash and Anthony hype up the Green Bay defense. But I think it's going to be Justin Jefferson. Kirk Cousins over the past 3 or so games versus the Packers has been absolutely, in my favorite fantasy word, electric. So I'm projecting a shootout, Minnesota Green Bay. Usually when I project a shootout, it's usually like a 10-3 game when it's all said and done. But and then my tight end one, another spot where it gets a little messy because there's really only a few guys that can possibly end up as a tight end one unless a guy absolutely has an anomaly week. But I'm gonna stack it with Jalen Hurts, and I'm gonna go Dallas Goedert. 2 TDs is going to be no problem for Dallas Goedert today versus the Detroit Lions. I could definitely see him finding the end zone often. He might not get that much volume in the passing game, but if he can get 4 catches, 35 yards, 2 TDs or so, he definitely have the opportunity to finish as the tight end one for the season. But most likely it's going to be Travis Kelce.
Honestly, Goddard has been one of my personal favorite tight ends the last 3 years. And if you look at his numbers from last year, 57 catches, 47 of those catches were first downs.
Yeah. If you play in a bonus with first downs catches, the guy's a cheat code.
He's a machine.
He's an absolute cheat code. We got a question here. Avery Peterson, Michael Carter or Travis Etienne? Not high on either. I'm going Etienne here.
Yeah.
I know James Robinson is supposed to be back in the backfield and all that, but he is coming off a gnarly injury as well. So Michael Carter does have Breece Hall there, their top pick. They paid him a ton of money. Breece Hall is going to eventually take over that backfield. As much as they want to say that Michael Carter is the lifeblood of the offense, I believe in the talent of Breece Hall there. So I'm going Etienne. He's going to see a lot in the passing game. He's got the chemistry already with his quarterback from his university college days. So I'm picking Etienne here.
It's kind of, I hate to say it's kind of a no-brainer. The Jets do show the respect for Michael Carter because last year Michael Carter was their RB1. That was the guy they went to. So of course you're not just going to ditch your RB1 of last year that helped you guys afloat. He wasn't the greatest running back, but you power him up with Breece Hall, which I think as well. We have our league and we talk about these rookies, and I think Breece Hall is the best pure rusher in the draft. So I think Michael Carter is just slowly dwindling away, and I think Etienne's skyrocketing, slowly just going up and up and up. I don't care about James Robinson there. I've seen guys on Achilles injuries come back, try to be that guy, average 3 yards a game, and then play week 1, get 3 carries, 0 yards, and a 0.3 fantasy score. If you know who I'm talking about,
yes, sir.
Yeah, yes, so sir. I'm not too high in James Robinson this week, I think, because you don't just come back from Achilles and just be, Reggie Bush. You don't come back and be this guy.
Definitely a tough injury to come back from for a run.
Yeah, and you said Lawrence has that chemistry. The Commanders' defensive line is not that good, so I'm expecting dump offs. The rushing ability, I would say caps off at 15 carries. I think for Etienne, I think he's more of that pass catching back where he's like James White or, like Danny Woodhead or someone like that. That's a great out the backfield. And for Trevor Lawrence, the chemistry is there, like you said. I expect this guy to be a high-end RB2 by the end of the season. So I'm starting Etienne kind of on an every week basis.
Yep, agreed. Luka Falsetto, Irv Smith, Mike Gesicki, or David Njoku, full PPR. You got a favorite out of the group?
I don't. I don't like Mike G. I don't like Irv Smith. These are guys I just seen the waiver wire. I'm like, I don't know why you're projected what you projected. But Njoku, you were right. I looked into it because even when my draft came around, I'm like, I need a tight end. I waited so long. I ended up with Tanyan, which I think is good, but Njoku's sitting right there, and I'm like, God, this guy just screams fantasy value. You look at Jacoby Brissett's, past times. He's had Jack Doyle, gave him a good season, when he had to. When he's there, the tight ends are Brissett's best friend. So I think Njoku is the way to go this week. I think Njoku going forward has no reason, unless he has like a bunch of dud games or gets like a serious injury, for you not to start him. I think he's like a plug-in and tight end, play him. And at the end of the season, he could be a guy who's in the top 15. And in the tight end world, that's great. You need a top 15 tight end. And I think Njoku is that guy.
Yep, I like Njoku there. I want to see what Irv Smith can do. They've been trying to move Jazicki for a bit there in the offseason. So I like Njoku with Brissett. Caden Casemiro, do I start Breece Hall, your boy, Damian Pierce, or London at flex in PPR?
You know where I'm going with this one. It's the middleman.
I said it in the intro.
I love me some Damian Pierce. Know he's on the Texans. I know the offensive line's not the best. But damn it, there's something about this kid that just took out the preseason. Like, he is the preseason hype. He's that guy that you look for. Like, who is this guy? It's Damian Pierce. Yeah. London, I think, is a good flex too. You can't go wrong with either of these two. I mean, it's you have riches everywhere. You have Breece Hall, 1,000-yard back. I think Breece Hall might take a little bit more time. I got to go Damian Pierce. I'm not going to get off the bandwagon this week. I think against the Colts, there's no Shaquille Leonard Dobbins is out. I'm not surprised there, but Drake, Mike Williams, or Mike Davis, I think two good guys you could take from that backfield. But no, I'm taking Damian Pierce. I think this is the guy that this is the week, and this is the guy that's going to be the new like James Robinson of 2 years ago, a guy who comes on out of nowhere and just balls out. So I'm taking Pierce, London, Breece Hall in that order.
There you go. Good luck, Caden. Albert Marroquin, Christian Kirk, or Rashad Bateman, full PPR. The full PPR, I would lean Christian Kirk here, just because he's playing that slot receiver role for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's going to see a ton of volume. They paid him a ton of money, so they're going to get him the ball. They're going to game plan to get him the ball. Whereas as Bateman,
you don't think the wide receiver with the targets there? Right? You don't think it's just Andrews likely and Bateman. Like, you don't think they just force feed him from week one and just run with it?
They could. I mean, they could go either way with these two. They could end up finishing in the same range at the end of the week in terms of production for week one. But I'm leading Christian Kirk here. I'm a Christian Kirk believer coming into the season. I'm also a Rashad Bateman believer coming into the season. But Christian Kirk, I think, just based on the volume that he's going to have in that offense with Trevor Lawrence, who you picked as your QB1 to finish the week. I think he's just going to see more volume than what Rashad Bateman's going to see.
And they traded Laviska Shenault, so
exactly.
Over under Kirk yards. Take it here and there. Receptions, take it.
Yep. So, full PPR, half PPR, I would maybe lean more towards Bateman because I think he'll have more opportunity to boom over Christian Kirk's opportunity to boom on the week. But full PPR, man, you want that volume pass catcher because every catch is a point, right?
Yep.
So if he sees 10 targets, 8 catches, I mean, that's automatic 8 points for you plus the yardage and if he catches any touchdowns. So give me that right there. Brock Goosey. What's up, fellas? Question. Need to fill the second flex with either Jacoby Myers, Breece Hall, a lot of Breece Hall owners, or Ramondre full PPR. I think Ramondre Stevenson is going to be utilized in the passing game. With James White retiring, he's going to take over that James White role. And again, the full PPR is what's going to separate these guys. So I'm going to go, for me, it's between Ramondre and Breece. As much as I like Jacoby Myers and the fact that he was Mac Jones's favorite target last season, Devontae Parker's there. They got the tight ends, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith. They're going to be using Ramondre. I don't think they fully believe in what Mac Jones can do as a quarterback in the passing attack. So I don't see Jacoby Myers getting maybe more than 5 targets this week. So If you had to lean Ramondre or Brees,
I'm going
knowing the situation,
Ramondre.
you're going Ramondre. Yeah, I
I
think I'm
was
going
just
Ramondre.
waiting for you to finish. I was being
Yeah,
respectful.
yeah,
There's no way in the world. I'm sorry, Jacoby Myers. We had the heartache that it was last year. No touchdowns, a lot of yards. Brees Hall again. The Jets have lost 2 tackles. I mean, it's like they don't want their running backs to be successful. It's hard to go with Brees Hall, especially a Ravens team that's coming out to prove that their defense is that.
yep.
Ramondre. I'm gonna scream it from the freaking Empire State Building. Give me Ramondre Stevenson all season. Go trade for him. This guy will be a league-winning running back. Bill Belichick swears by it. He swears he's a better pass catcher. Just keep him there. I think he's a borderline RB2 rest of the season. And if you have him as your flex, you are a great drafter. You are a smart man.
Agreed. Good luck. Brandon, would y'all play Elijah Moore over David Montgomery or Jalen Waddle today at the flex spot? Now, it is pouring in Chicago right now. It is pouring. It's going to be messy. The rain is falling. So it might be one of those David Montgomery games where they're not airing the ball out as much. So, and we've seen what Joe Flacco can produce with Elijah Moore. We've seen what Elijah Moore can produce with Joe Flacco. He puts up good numbers. But man, Jalen Waddle is just so tough to pass up in that Miami offense, man. You got a good problem here, but you want to make sure you make the right decision with this, because this decision that you make could be the win or lose decision week 1, and you always want to set yourself up with a week 1 win. I'm going to go Jalen Waddle over David Montgomery and Elijah Moore.
I want to piggyback off I have Waddle in a lot of leagues. I love what he brings to the table. I think that injuries, past him, it's gonna just be nothing but the Waddle and Hill show, and you're gonna see a lot of waddling in the end zone. And like I said, Waddle should be, correct me if I'm wrong, a receiver 2 sitting in your team, like one of those start and don't worry about it kind of things. And New England, they don't got the corners they have anymore. No J.C. Jackson, no Stephon Gilmore, and I think Tua, Tyreek, and Waddle are going to have to come out, and they're going to prove a point because they've won if I'm not wrong, the last 3 games against New England. So they've got their number kind of. So I think Waddle's in for one of those good PPR days.
Agreed. Gibson or Cortland Sutton full PPR?
Really? Wait, really?
I mean, with the situation with B-Rob there.
I think it's Sutton. I mean,
this came up. Yeah, I'm going Sutton here.
Like, this. You can tell when Russell Wilson was leaving Seattle, he was still throwing bombs. I think Cortland Sutton is the biggest benefactor of Russell Wilson coming to Seattle. Again, another guy. I mean, I drafted him everywhere. I would start Sutton as your receiver 2. I drafted him in the 3rd round. Am I crazy for that? I mean, he's my receiver 1 outside of Justin Jefferson, but I think Sutton is one of those guys too, like Waddle, that you just sit in your lineup and just start him over 80% of the league, depending on if it's like Adams or Chase or anyone like that. But if it's Sutton versus any like tier 2 guy, just keep Sutton in there.
Yep, I agree with that. Would you guys start Josh Jacobs or David Montgomery RB2? We already said that the weather in Chicago isn't the greatest right now. So, but we could see a mix of, I know they love Khalil Herbert there in Chicago and Tristan Ebner as well. So I don't know how much volume Montgomery is going to get as the running back in Chicago. So I know Josh Jacobs, there was a lot of flack in the offseason with him starting the Hall of Fame game and all that. But I'm going to lean Josh Jacobs here.
This is a tough one because, I love, some Montgomery's, the weather game. I mean, I think Monty is the guy. Khalil Herbert's in the shadows waiting. But just something tells me to go with Montgomery. Josh Jacobs I like, and I know Zamir White's trailing him behind. And, of course, that Hall of Fame game, everyone's like, why is he playing? I just don't think that the Vegas Raiders are going to fare well against the Chargers because that Chargers defensive front is a good defensive front.
Yeah.
And I think
JC Jackson's out.
So I think the defensive line is going to have to give pressure on Derek Carr. Of course, I know they have Adams. And I think having Waller, is Waller playing? Is he expected to fully come out and play?
Waller's playing, yep.
Okay, I think with those guys, Josh Jacobs is like the 4th option. And I think Montgomery is, I hate to say it's in my notes, Montgomery's the 2nd option on that team. I'm sorry. This guy is the 2nd best player outside of Cole Kmet. And I think he gets minimum 20 carries in a wet game in Chicago. We know how those games in Chicago go. Kyler Murray came into Chicago last year in a wet cold day, and he ran for 2 touchdowns, threw for like 170 yards, and he still balled out.
Yeah.
So give me Montgomery all day this week.
Yep. I don't mind that. I don't mind that one there. I think you're good to go with either or. Q McBride, what's going on, fellas? What's up, Q? Cortland Sutton versus Seattle or Michael Thomas versus Atlanta. As much as I'm a Saints fan and I love MT, he has been dealing with a hamstring injury, which is not a good injury for a wide receiver. I think he'll be on a bit of a snap count, a usage count he's going to be on. So I'm gonna lean Cortland Sutton here. I mean, it's the revenge game. It's Russell Wilson's had to have gone into Denver and been like, man, let me cook these guys. Let me just throw the ball around. I just want to show them that this is what happens when you have a somewhat competent offensive line. You got good wide receivers. Not saying that they didn't have good wide receivers in Seattle, but I mean, the script, you can't write this, man. It's Russ Wilson, revenge game. Baker Mayfield, revenge game. Joe Flacco, revenge game. And so I'm leaning Sutton here. Give me Sutton here.
You know what? Again, I'm trying to be different, but you speak facts. It's like Sutton is like, again, Sutton, DK Metcalf, almost the same guy, 6'4". Russ is going into a better Butler, and let Russ cook. Like you said, he's going back to Seattle. He's going back home for week 1, so it's basically a home game.
Yeah.
Back. I mean, come on. So give me Sutton, give me Judy, give me Javonte, give me Albert O. I think Russ goes into that Seattle stadium and covers a 6.5-point spread, and also shows that this is why you don't trade me, and this is what happens when you give me a team capable of protecting me and a defense capable of keeping me off the field 24/7.
Agreed.
Seattle's in for a rude awakening, and it's gonna happen on Monday night.
Yeah, I agree. Miles Sanders or DJ Moore. Just a heads up, you guys probably all know, but pro tip: make sure if you're starting Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, or whatever, they are in the flex spot, so you have the flexibility to move those guys if something was to happen, right? So you don't want them in that wide receiver spot or that running back spot. So if you're picking up a guy in waivers, you're pretty much limited there. So make sure those guys that start these late games, whether it's Sunday night, Monday night, are in your flex spot. All right. Jacob Johnson. Yeah. Jacob Johnson, Miles Sanders, or DJ Moore at the flex. I'm going DJ Moore here, man.
You know how I feel. Miles Sanders is like, oh, that guy does not
much has changed in that.
Much has changed over years. And DJ Moore is DJ Moore. He's like 21 years old still.
Yeah.
The guy, 1,000 yards almost every year. DJ Moore, again, another guy who is a solid receiver too. And if he's at your flex, again, I don't know what leagues you guys are in, but please call us. Me and Chris would love to just, see what we can do to run the table in these leagues and get these nice players, because this is not the problem I have anywhere else.
No, it's a good problem to have.
Great.
Jim E, 2 out of Sutton, AJ Brown, T. Higgins, and Mike Williams. I'm going AJ Brown for sure. And then,
it's Higgins and Sutton, right?
Yeah, Higgins and Sutton. I mean, I think Mike Williams could have a big day too there, the Chargers. But yeah, give me Brown and Sutton. Give me AJ Brown and Cortland Sutton. Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh. That Pittsburgh defense always stout, so he could. AJ Brown and Sutton. I'm confident with that one. AJ Brown and Cortland Sutton.
I am too. I mean, I love, like I said, it's the Sutton Breece Hall show today, and I'm all for the Sutton show. I have him in a lot of leagues. AJ Brown. I know Frankie, our guy at the top of the company, does not think AJ Brown is going to have a season. I think AJ Brown is going to have one of the most explosive seasons. I think when it comes to him going to Philadelphia, I know run team, but they're going to feed this guy. Like, I think over 130 targets easily and over 1,000 yards easily. I know it's crazy. It's AJ Brown, the injury history. Oh, he plays a full 17 games. He's not this, he's not that. I don't care. It's a new regime. It's a new team. AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts. If you don't have that stack, get the stack. And if you do have it, you're going to be loving life every week. You look at that stack. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, Jim, you got 4 guys that could all finish as a wide receiver one at the end of the week, man. It's a good problem to have. I can see why you're torn between the 4 there, buddy. Avery Peterson, chances that Pollard Tony Pollard outscores Ezekiel Elliott this week. What do you think? If you had to put a percentage on it,
I think we're going to see. I think it's a great match. It's a great. I don't know. It's a great matchup for Pollard. It's a great matchup for the defense of the Bucs. I think Zeke Elliott is going to be Zeke. You know, we said it last year. I've had it where I'm like, oh, Zeke sucks. And you pull a stat, you go, well, he had RB1 numbers here and there. Yeah. I think week one, the Bucs defense, especially their defensive line, their linebacking core, is made to stop the run. Tony Pollard is not a guy who will get 20 carries, but I do think the backfield work, you know, you lost Amari Cooper. You're going to have double backfield sets with Pollard and Zeke. You're going to have maybe like read options here and there. But I think Pollard does outscore Zeke only because, I mean, the Bucs, we know them, just like the Saints. They're a great run defense, and you don't really want to start a lot of running backs against both of these teams. I think Zeke is an exception. I mean, you drafted him third, fourth round at best. You still have to play him, but if I was to take a risk, I could say Pollard gets that, 5, 6, 7 catches out the backfield. Say they're down late in the game, they dump off past 20 yards. So give me Pollard to outscore Zeke, but just by 3 or 4 points the most.
Right on. Good luck, Avery. Over under 12.5 rush attempts for Lamar today.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
That is a lot.
But again, kid's betting on himself, man.
I
love to see it.
Give me the under. I mean, I like to say, life's too short to bet the under, but I think today you're going to see, if you're going to see a committee of any committees, it's going to be the Mike Davis, the Justice Hill, and the Kenyon Drake led backfield with Lamar Jackson. That doesn't scream sexy if you know it. I don't know what it does. So oh, man.
Under? I'm going to go over there. I got to go over.
I have to. There's no way I can't.
New life. Hey, guys, what do you think of starting Isaiah Likely and also rest of season? I like him if Tyler Huntley's throwing the ball. I'm going to go. I'm not starting him this week. Man, there's just so many other tight end options I'd rather plug into my lineup than rely on the rookie tight end. Especially with Mark Andrews there, Bateman's there. We know that they're going to want to run the ball a ton. So I don't see him finishing as a top tight end option. Rest of the season, I mean, he's a bench stash for sure. We've seen the production in the preseason, but again, that's preseason. We've seen tons of guys produce in the preseason that just don't do the same in the regular season because of game planning. And you're playing against the best. You're playing against the one. So I'm not starting him this week. I am okay with stashing him on my bench rest of the season. I'm okay.
I mean, rookie tight ends never pan out year one. I mean, you can't find me one tight end that
Kyle Pitts did have 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah, 1 touchdown. Not even U.S. soil, but hey, anyways, I think Likely, I'm torn. I'm in a league too where I just drop him, pick him up, drop him, pick him up. I'm like, is he gonna like pick him up and drop him, and then next thing you know, on Tuesday he puts up 20 points because he had a crazy game, and then everyone's rushing after him, and the next thing you know, he puts up 2 points, and you're like, damn it, I just spent $20 in fab for this guy. He sucks. I think you're thinking stash him if you're extra bench spot. Have a guy in the IR that you just throw to the IR, comes back in a few weeks, then see how he does. But rookie tight ends never really pan out. I mean, like I said, you're gonna cause yourself a headache every time. You're like, all right, let me throw the dart this week and see if Isaiah Likely's gonna stick. He's not gonna stick. You bench him, he sticks, and you get mad at yourself, and you're like, why am I doing this to myself? Just let him sit in your bench. And if Mark Andrews does go down, different story. But as of right now, it's the Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson show with a sprinkle of Rashad Bateman.
Agreed. Good luck, New Life. Justin O'Connor, I really need your help. Jahan Dotson, Damian Harris, or Chris Godwin at flex, and Kirk Cousins or Tua Tagovailoa at QB. I mean, Godwin's going to be on a pitch count. So
yeah. But,
man.
Damian Harris? So, is that Miami defense going to be that good to stop him? Is Ramondre going to take that much work from him? This is actually, honestly, I'm kind of stumped. I want to say Dotson because, I feel like as a receiver too, Godwin, like you said, pitch count. I would go Kirk Cousins over Tua.
Yeah,
I know. I don't hate Tua. I think it's going to be a good day for him, but I think Kirk is going to come out. It's not an 8 o'clock game. It's midday, so he's going to ball out.
Yeah,
Give me
agreed.
Damon Harris. I think just the
Yeah,
volume
give
at
me
running
Damian
back.
Harris there. Yep. Let me see what they're gonna do with Chris Godwin. He's coming off that ACL injury, so
And they won't tell us if he's on the pitch count if they do. Like they
he's
like
so talented. Though it's
yeah.
hard to pass up on him. But I'm starting Damian Harris here.
Yeah.
Week 1, yeah, I'm starting Damian Harris only because I don't trust the Godwin usage. But he could come out and freaking play every snap and catch 10. I just don't see that happening week 1. I think they're gonna be cautious with them. And they're not going to throw caution to the wind, especially week 1 against the Cowboys. So give me Damian Harris here.
And they have Julio, Mike Evans. They have
exactly.
so many receivers. Even if Godwin wants to miss 2 weeks, it's not like they're gonna miss him. But they'll have Julio Jones and Mike Evans. So
exactly. Good luck. Half PPR start 1. Michael Thomas, Elijah Moore, or DJ Moore. For me, it's between the two Moores. I'm gonna go DJ Moore.
Yeah, I'm gonna go DJ Moore too. Again, I'm trying to make it different. I'm trying to give like some perspective, but it's just these matchups.
No, it's good that we're clear, right? We don't want to.
I don't want to confuse you either.
Agree, it's all the better. Yeah. So I'm starting DJ Moore there.
And I don't like that. Another guy I don't like is Baker, but like you can't tell me Baker's not gonna make DJ Moore better. Yeah. I mean, he's had Darnold. I think DJ Moore again, another guy you can plug and play and keep at your receiver 2 end and not have to worry.
Yeah, I agree with that. Good luck, New Life. Roman Mirabel, Mike Davis, or Nyheim Hines, full PPR. That full PPR
changes a lot.
Is such a game changer when it comes to these start sits, because we know Nyheim Hines is going to be involved in the passing attack for the Colts, where Mike Davis is not going to be involved in too much of that passing attack for the Ravens. So full PPR. I like Mike Davis's touchdown upside more than I like Nyheim Hines, but the full PPR is just such an advantage having that pass catching running back. I'm gonna lean Nyheim Hines here.
I think it's clear cut Nyheim Hines. I mean,
but Mike Davis is going to be used on that goal line. Like he can definitely has better opportunity to get touchdowns over Nyheim Hines. But again, like we said, the full PPR, I'm going Nyheim Hines.
I just don't trust. I'd be real with you. I mean, Splash, you know this, but better than anyone. I just don't trust Mike Davis. I mean, I've seen what he did last year in Atlanta, and like just drafting the guy where they did, such a headache. And I think Nyheim Hines, he was a late pick, so like to have this problem, I think Nyheim Hines will get a lot of the carries. I think Mike Davis is just one of those complimentary players that just sits in the committee and gets you 3-4 rushes, maybe 6-7 yards. You're like, oh, this guy's getting some good yards, and then just disappears. I don't know. I'm staying away from that Ravens backfield now that Dobbins is out. I just kind of not liking it.
Yep. Good luck there. All right. We got about 15, 20 minutes left. Keep those questions coming in. We're going to start getting into our starts and sits of the week. So let's fire that up. We got a QB start and a QB sit, a running back start, a running back sit. There's the list there. Our Sundays start and sits of the week. I'm gonna let you fire off your QB sit, my boy. But I'm excited to hear what you have to say about Jameis Winston as a sit this week versus the Falcons.
So he's coming off an injury, of course. You know how I feel about the injuries. That's the first. Second is, I know it's the Falcons. That might not be the biggest threat, and yes, he should have a great day. But I'm not buying. I'm not buying a day where he finishes in the top 12. Mm-hmm. This is strictly one quarterback, 10, 12, not 14-team leagues. These like those main leagues. I just don't think he's a viable 12-man starter. I mean, I expect him to throw 2 touchdowns, at least 200 yards, but I expect, the sacks here, 2 interceptions. I expect some rust and some I guess slowness from that knee, and that's where I think Alvin Kamara has to come in here and be that guy. I think Kamara's going to take a lot of his reps away. They're going to try to get him acclimated, get used to like playing football again. Because Jameis didn't he have a re-aggravated ankle in preseason, so they're already weary of the guy. So they're a little weary of the guy still because he needs to stay healthy, and I think Kamara. This week, you just unload with them. Break out those passes to Landry, Olave, and, Michael Thomas. You have to get those guys the ball still. Get chemistry. I just think this week, although it's a juicy matchup, you still have A.J. Terrell on the other side. You still have a competent defense that knows who they have to shut down. And I think if they get to Jameis Winston here and there, that might be a good like rattling move for Atlanta. And that's why I've taken Atlanta plus 5.5 this week, because I think Atlanta, as much as they should be getting blown out, I think will be in the game more often. And I think Jameis will have a few mistakes that kind of take him from the top of the game to like a few notches under a top 12 quarterback.
Yeah. I could definitely see a situation like that. Definitely.
225, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Give me no more than 20 points on the week for, I guess, 0.5 or, PPR. I just don't think it's the week for him to go off. He's going to have weeks where he does. I just don't think this is week one that's not going to happen.
Okay. So there you sit, Jameis Winston. My QB start of the week is Kirk Cousins of the Minnesota Vikings versus the Green Bay Packers. In the 8 games played versus the Packers, Mr. Cousine posts a passer rating of 114, 2,254 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. The guy balls when playing the Packers. Of those 8 games, 4 of them, he has thrown 3 or more TDs, and 4 of them he has thrown for over 340 yards. That's 50% of his games versus the Packers, where he's finishing the week as a QB1. He's a plug and play versus the Packers. The new Kevin O'Connell high pass offense system is only gonna benefit Kirk Cousins even more. The over under right now in the game is set at 48. My projection for Kirk: 325 yards, 2.5 passing touchdown total. Start the Cousine. A lot of people, especially Nick on the uSTADIUM app, has him as the dark horse MVP. We saw Kyle Brandt on Good Morning America say that he was his pick to finish as the MVP of the year. So Kirk Cousins is set up to absolutely ball, and I'm excited for the amount of you like that this coming season. There's our starting sit QBs. Moving on to running backs, your boy Dameon Pierce, the rookie running back in Houston. Why are we starting Sir Pierce?
So Sir Pierce will be joining the Bear Schmom's wagon, as Javonte Williams did, as Amon-Ra St. Brown did, and as others have, and they will going forward. The reason is, again, at Florida, this guy was a monster. He was the ground and pound bruising back. I mean, I look at him, I'm like, what is Dameon Pierce drafted out of Florida? Goes to the Houston Texans. All right, great. It's whatever. It's another running back. It's going to die in the zone of Houston. And then we watch his first preseason game. He breaks out 7 carries, 48 yards. He has a touchdown against your Saints, as well against your Saints. And I just think, this guy it's something about the AFC South and their running backs. Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, you have back in the day, MJD, you had Arian Foster, Chris Johnson. Like, this seems to be the division that knows how to have a back when no one knows. You've got James Robinson of 2 years ago off the Jags. I mean, I think Dameon Pierce is the next coming of. Do I want to say Corey Dillon? No. Do I want to say LaDainian Tomlinson? No. Do I want to say guys like that? No. But guys that will get you like 20, like a guy you look at like, oh, Dameon Pierce, what is he going to do? Nothing. He's a guy on this crappy team. But the next thing you know, he's getting 20 carries, 80 yards, a touchdown, garbage time touchdown. He's getting those goal line touchdowns. The Houston Texans are bad, but they're not as worse as they were last year. They're better offensively, I think. They have better offensive weapons. Their line has to get better, but you're looking at Rex Burkhead. You're looking at Royce Freeman. You're looking at a cut Marlon Mack on the practice squad cut again. There's a reason they got this guy. There's a reason they drafted him, and I think he's going to just be that guy. He's the guy that you look at. I was going to pay a 12th round pick for him. And then next thing you know, I have a late draft that comes on the 4th, every Sunday before the Thursday game. That day comes, he's a 6th round pick. I look at him, Antonio Gibson. I looked at a bunch of guys in that range, and I'm like, am I going to take Antonio Gibson over Dameon Pierce? No, I couldn't do it. I can't let myself do this because I know he's going to be the guy. 20 carries, 60 to 80 yards this week, and I have him at a 0.6 of a touchdown because Leonard is out. Their biggest piece of that defense is out, and I think up the middle, I think they're just going to have a good day, and they're going to feed him to see if he can sustain a full workload. They're not going to sit there and fall back. Even if they're down by 15 points, 20 points, he's still going to get some of those carries. You got to build the confidence. And I just think a good RB2, RB3 at worst this week, and I think he's a sneaky play the preseason hype train. The guy is going to be electric. I'm going to take your word. And he's going to be nuclear come the end of the season. Every week, I'm going to be saying this. Even if he's not on my start sit, I'll bring him up. I really think this guy is the next coming of a good running back. You had all these other running backs, Kenneth Walker. You have James Fumble Cook. You've got Kyron Williams. You have all these guys that it's like, oh, you're supposed to be the guy, and now you're hurt, or you can't play well. You're fumbling. Not Dameon Pierce. Not this rookie. This guy will be a clear-cut RB2 for this week, just because of the volume and because of the team. So start Dameon Pierce. If I'm crazy, I'm crazy. But listen, if he goes off and he hits his projection, you come in on that space on Tuesday, thank me later, and you're gonna hear my mouth.
That's it. That's it. I like it. New life. What are your thoughts on Travis Etienne this week? I think he's chomping at the bit to get on the field, to get in some real game time action week 1 with his old college quarterback. He's going to see a good amount of volume in the passing game. In the rushing game, just pure running, I don't know how much he's going to be utilized. I think they might do a 1-2 punch there with James Robinson. I believe, will have most of the opportunities on the goal line. So Travis Etienne might get vultured quite a bit by James Robinson in the season. We've seen Doug Peterson utilize a bunch of different backs in his system. So proceed with caution, especially week 1 with Travis Etienne. My running back sit of the week is none other than Ezekiel Elliott. Look, the Cowboys line is banged up. They are hurting. They lost Tyron Smith to a season-ending injury, La'el Collins to free agency. They got a rookie starting and just signed a 40-year-old Jason Peters. It's not looking good. It's going to be rough in Dallas. The passing game isn't going to be much of a threat when they double CeeDee Lamb and take that facet out of the game versus the Bucs. The Cowboys can get down quickly and completely abandon the run game and use Tony Pollard where he is the most useful in that passing attack. The downward spiral. And yes, I know I've heard it all season. Zeke finished as a top 10 running back last year, but the downward spiral is coming for Zeke. Last season in the opener versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the same team they are playing in week 1, he logged 33 rush yards, no TDs, 6 receiving yards on 2 catches. I'm expecting the same kind of output for Mr. Salvation Army. 45 and a half rush yards, 0.25 chance of a touchdown, and minimal action in the passing game. So I am not starting Ezekiel Elliott if I don't have to. If you got a guy that is subpar or you're not completely sure, you might want to have Zeke in there just because of his talent. He is a talented guy. You know that he can produce. But if I have someone like a Dameon Pierce or maybe even a Breece Hall, or if I'm going, maybe even Tony Pollard might outproduce him today, I'm okay with starting those guys above Ezekiel Elliott. Nick Peoples, Dameon Pierce or Breece Hall. We're going Dameon Pierce here today, right?
It's just the Pierce show, baby.
The DP show, not Dan Patrick. All right, let's move to our wide receiver start of the week. For me, it's Denver Broncos. Jerry Jeudy.
It's a hot
one. Think about it. The first Monday Night Football game of the year, and the table could not be more set for a Russell Wilson 2-star Michelin rating for the new restaurant he opened up in Mile High. Jerry Jeudy is going to be the benefactor of the new passing attack that is opened in Denver. Many believe it will be Sutton, and Sutton will get his. But to me, it's going to be Jerry Jeudy is going to be the dog there in Denver. In the 11 games they played together so far in Denver, Sutton and Jeudy, Sutton has 21 catches, 257 yards, no touchdowns, where Judy, on the other hand, has 42 catches, 529 yards, no TDs as well. So they're kind of struggling on the field when they're together with catching the ball in the end zone. It's a new offense with Nathaniel Hackett there. So I'm excited for the Denver Broncos. Judy is going to be peppered early and often. In my projection for this week is 6 catches, 80 yards, and a tutty.
Jeez.
Fire up the kid.
I don't disagree with you on that one. I mean, I have Sutton high too. We agreed Seattle's going to get smoked out that whole entire state.
Yep.
I love it.
There. Yep. Our wide receiver sit of the week, brought to you by Stefan, is none other than, and this, when you gave me the list, I was weary. I was like, this guy's going to sit Darnell Mooney, but Nostradamus here predicted the rain. It's an absolute downpour in Chicago, and he is sitting Darnell Mooney.
I did not listen. The first second you said downpour today on the show was the only time I knew the Chicago weather. I just know that they're just bad. Listen, I've gotten on Twitter, engaged with some people. I will speak my mind. I'm sorry if you don't like it. It's just the way it is sometimes. I like to say it if it's not, and we argue. But the one thing I will go to the grave with this year is Chicago is a bottom team. Their receivers are doo-doo. And you don't use that lightly. Darnell Mooney is the best receiver. Byron Pringle, Velus Jones is not playing either. And who else? There is no one else. I mean, you got to just put your best corner on, i.e. Darnell Mooney, lock him up. No one else matters. You could put you could take Bill Belichick and go find a guy at McDonald's flipping burgers and put him on the receiver 2 for the freaking Bears. I'm sorry. It's just, I don't see it. I think the Niners, we know the Niners. They're a stout defense. It's a crappy day in Chicago. It's going to be nothing but rain. It's going to be one of those muddy, slushy games. And Darnell Mooney does not have the best of hands regardless. So you're going to see a lot of catches that should have been caught go through the gloves, maybe because of the moisture in the air. And I just think that Darnell Mooney is in for a game where it's 5 catches, 50 yards, and give me a 0.2 touchdown. I really, really think that San Fran knows what they have, and they know who Chicago has, and they know the 3 guys. It's Mooney, Kmet, Montgomery, Fields. That's it. Mm-hmm. And it's the easiest way to guard someone. I mean, I know last year Mooney had 1,000 yards, but he barely got 1,000 yards. Like, it wasn't like he blew it out of the water or anything, but if he missed 2 games, he's not getting that 1,000 yards. I've had him. I see it. You cannot
hold the Matt Nagy era against anybody on Chicago.
And honestly, rightfully so. You cannot. I will not, and I won't. But they are like in NFL purgatory right now, where it's like you're not good. You don't have a chance to be good right now. You're bad. It's like the Texans of last year. They were in NFL purgatory because of the whole Watson situation. Mm-hmm. It was just such a mess. Then you could feel the energy there was so bad, and it reflected on their season. They sucked. You look at Chicago, it's almost the same thing. And outside of, you could see it on there. It's not a surprise. Cole Kmet, I think that offense is doomed for one of the worst seasons you're going to see. The offensive line's not good. I mean, Justin Fields is not going to have a time to get the ball off to Darnell Mooney. Mm-hmm. I just don't see it. And I don't see it for a lot of weeks. So I'm sorry, Chicago. I love you. It's a great city. I loved it. I loved being there. I wanted to move there. But when it comes to your football team, it's a lot of work right now.
Manuel Gomes. Hi, bros. Start one flex. Brandon Cooks, Rashad Bateman, Hunt, and Tony. I think I'm taking Kareem Hunt and Kadarius Toney out of there. So for me, it's between Brandon Cooks and Rashad Bateman, and I'm going to lean towards Brandon Cooks.
Again, we are on point today after being off. Yep. I am going Cooks, and I am going Bateman too.
Yep, give me Brandon Cooks there. Matty Ice or Justin Fields with the situation in Chicago right now. I'm going to lean towards Matt Ryan.
Enough said.
Thank you for your questions. Good luck, Manuel. Our start tight end of the week. You just finished talking about how bad the Chicago passing offense is. And now you're going to tell us why Cole Kmet is a start.
And I will, because I have all my notes in order this time. Why Cole Kmet? Because last year there was nothing good about the Bears. I know it's the same thing I just said. Justin Fields has nobody outside of, like I said, Montgomery, Mooney, Kmet. Kmet last year, what did he do? He could have been a clear-cut tight end one. He had, I think it was 553 yards, no touchdowns, almost 60 receptions. You add 3-4 touchdowns to that, it's a tight end one case easily. Like, this guy just got robbed of scoring in the end zone, and it's because Matt Nagy loves himself some Jimmy Graham. Like, a 35-year-old tight end over an aspiring young guy. I mean, I don't blame Cole Kmet. That's why I'm not ragging on the guy. I think he's got immense, upside. I think his floor and ceiling are complete opposites. I think his floor on a bad day is 6-7 points. I think his ceiling on a good day is 20 points, only because of how bad they are and they have no other weapons. He is their receiver too. He is a go-to target for Justin Fields, as is any tight end for any struggling quarterback. You don't throw it 50 yards to a good receiver when you can't get the ball out there. You throw it to your Gronkowski's, Kelsey's, Kittles, Wallers. Those are guys that will secure you 6-7 catches, first down catches, those end zone touchdowns. Like, Cole Kmet's a big guy, and I expect him to come out even in the crappy rain and the mud and whatever it is that Chicago puts on the field that they call a team. I think it's 6 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown, and he's the only viable guy that you'll look back and go, I am so glad I waited later in the rounds to get a guy like this.
He was targeted heavily in the preseason,
and he just didn't score. And like I said, you give a tight end 3 to 4 touchdowns, easily borderline tight end 2-3, and that's all you need in the season.
Yep, agreed. Tight end sit of the week for me is TJ Hawkinson of the Detroit Lions. The Philadelphia Eagles have built a secondary that will be almost second to none. They had holes across their team and absolutely nailed the offseason. If you take out the 2 outlier games last season where tight end scored 20 or more points versus the Eagles, the position only averaged 6 points per game. For his career versus the Eagles, TJ Hawkinson is averaging 5.5 catches of 45 yards and 0 TDs. The defensive additions on defense are only going to make it worse for the passing attack. They added Hassan Reddick. They drafted Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis. They re-signed Fletcher Cox, and they traded for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, my boy. I'm going to miss him in the black and gold. The Eagles are going to suffocate any passing work that the Lions are hoping to bring. So I am sitting TJ Hawkinson this week. My projection for TJ, 3 catches, 30 yards, and no touchdowns. So sit TJ Hawkinson. I think I'm starting David Njoku over TJ this week. Cole Kmet, I'm okay starting over TJ this week. So there are a couple. You know what? This might be hot take-ish. I know a lot of people are out on the guy, but I might even start Evan Ingram over TJ.
Oh my God! What is with you guys?
Evan Ingram.
What is with people
Doug
nowadays?
Peterson's system? We've seen it in the preseason. He's going to be utilized on swing routes and heavily involved in the passing attack and anything behind the line of scrimmage as well for the Jaguars. So I think I'm okay. I I would be in dire straits if I'm starting Evan Ingram over TJ Hawkinson, but I think I'm leaning there. JC, yeah, it's tough.
Crazy.
Wondering if I should start Darnell Mooney or Rashad Bateman as wide receiver 2 today, half PPR. We're both going to agree here and say Rashad Bateman. Again, it's downpouring in Illinois. The rain is coming down. Cats and dogs, whatever you want to say, men, cats and dogs. Start Rashad Bateman over Darnell Mooney this week. Good luck, JC. Okay, let's get to our last start and sit, and then also after we go off air, if you guys want to pivot to the uSTADIUM Twitter, they're going to be doing a Twitter space on there. If you got more questions, as we get closer to 1 o'clock, we're going to get more inactives rolling in. We're going to get more news rolling in, and they're going to be dropping that stuff. So head over to the uSTADIUM Twitter as soon as we're off air here. If you got more questions, our sit DST of the week can confirm raining cats and dogs. Yeah, exactly.
And there's Noah with the weather.
Yeah, exactly. Our sit of the week for defense, you got them, the Green Bay Packers, which coincides with my QB start of the week. I like how we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, we did not these are like blind reactions. Like he goes, "Hey Steph, give me your starts and sits. All right, Chris, give me your starts and sits. None of these are coordinated.
No. So why are we sitting the Green Bay Packers this week?
Oh, Justin Jefferson. That's it. That's literally all I wrote.
There's the analysis.
Wow.
Justin Jefferson.
No, let's be real. I mean, you even said it. It's 4:00. It's not a Monday night game, Thursday night game, or a Sunday night game. So Kirk Cousins, expect them over 300 yards.
Yeah.
I think that defense took they lost Smith last year to Minnesota, and he went there to play them twice a year, to beat them twice a year, he said. So I really think that the Packers are going to come out and offensively be all right for a few drives. But I think defensively, they're gonna just I just don't know. I think they're gonna suffocate them this week. I think Thielen, you got KJ Osborne, you've got Justin Jefferson, you've got Dalvin Cook, you've got Irv Smith, you've got a good offensive line. You've got receivers galore, you've got running back galore because they've got good running backs too, and you got tight ends. Like they're gonna have it any in which way they want. Kirk Cousins is gonna sling the rock. He's gonna throw. I think he's gonna have one of the best week 1 performances this week. I think he's a top 6 guy of the week when it comes to like QB scores. And I think this defense, I don't care if Jair Alexander's over Justin Jefferson. I think Jefferson is a pure stud. And I think Thielen has got a lot of reputation like as a good receiver. I think he's got to get some of that back because last year he had the injury issues. He wasn't as good as he was previously, but I think he comes back. And I think KJ Osborne takes a big leap. You're seeing the receivers nowadays. There are 3 receiver sets. You don't see those Randy Moss and his homies. It's Randy Moss and it's Wes Welker and it's Edelman. It's like everyone that's gotta be. It's a trio of receivers. And Minnesota, man, you're gonna have a field day, and you're gonna make sure the Packers go home and they not forget this loss. Because if I had to start them and give them a projection, I'm gonna give them at least 3 points, get a few sacks here, maybe a pick off of Kirk Cousins. 1 fumble goes their way, but it's not going to be a day for the Packers. And they are a top 6 defense in the season. I mean, outside of this game, I would start them over the Lions twice, Chicago twice, and a few other teams. But against the Vikings, I'm staying away from them, and I'm staying away from them the second time again. I'll put them again when they face the Vikings another time because that's how much of a sure thing I think that Minnesota is going to be this year and this week. I mean, it's Minnesota. I know they're not good, but they're going to be, if not the NFC North winners.
Yep. I mean, I can see it. I can definitely see it. I mean, that Green Bay defense is pretty stout, but I can definitely see a shootout happening today where starting a team on the opposite side of the shootout defense, Team DST, is probably not the way to go.
Oof, a headache.
My DST start of the week, the Miami Dolphins. I mean, is it fair to say that the New England Patriots have packed in the 22 season already? Fair to say that? I mean, the O-line is skeptical. The receiving core is mid. And Mac Jones has been struggling throughout the preseason. They're not as confident as Mac Jones as they were hoping to be. Poised to have a top 10 defense in the 2022 season. Last year, the Miami Dolphins had the 3rd highest pressure rating and allowed the 7th lowest QB rating versus the Miami Dolphins. So it's not spelling high confidence versus a team who's going to struggle passing. And so I'm expecting the Miami Dolphins to have a good week defensively against their division rival. I could see multiple sacks coming, 2 interceptions. We know Mac Jones has been known to throw a couple interceptions, especially in the games, probably a few fumbles here and there. I don't see it being a shootout on the New England Patriots side. I can see the Dolphins putting up a lot of points there. So I'm starting confidently the Miami Dolphins defense against the Patriots this week.
I like it. I mean, when I saw the Dolphins, I'm like, wow. And I'm like, these guys, I mean, Miami has had a statistically all right defense. I mean, their offense has just never been subpar to like hold, the ship afloat. So, I mean, if you're looking at the Dolphins, I know it's New England, but New England's not Tom Brady anymore. It's the Mac Jones era. And like you said, they are not looking good.
Yeah, I agree there. That's our start and sits for the week. We appreciate everybody who joined us and asked questions. We are here every Sunday, 10 a.m. for you guys to chase your trophies. Get those rings sized up. Stefan and I are thankful for everyone who joined, everyone behind the scenes, everyone at the uSTADIUM family. And don't forget, there is a revenge themed promo going on right now on the app. If Joe Flacco, Russell Wilson, and Baker Mayfield win, your deposit gets times by 10. If two of them win, it gets times by 5. And if just one of them wins, you're doubling your money. Deposit on the uSTADIUM app. No code necessary. Get there. Make fantasy takes. I got a fantasy take on there right now that my team's going to beat Splash's team. So the teams are in the comments. So you can get on that. You can post a take on there saying that your team is going to beat your buddy's team and so on. And I mean, I'm hyped for the takes feature this football season. It's really come full circle, and it's so slick, man. It's so easy to use. So get on there. Get over to the uSTADIUM Twitter. We're going to have a fantasy space going. We're going to be announcing inactives, breaking news on there. It's live right after we get off air here. Steph, let them know where they can find you, brother.
Twitter handle, uSTADIUM handle, MySpace, Facebook, LinkedIn, AOL, AIM, just right here, right there. Bearish Bombs, DMs are always open. Any questions, I will be joining that fantasy space after. You know, if you have any questions, I'll be sitting there. But don't overthink it. It's week 1. It's a huge plane just went over. But hey, it's week 1. Don't overthink it. Listen, just start your guys. You drafted. You do not win this league or your league or any league by the draft. You win through waivers. You win through, yes, the draft, but you also win through your own thoughts. If you have any questions, drop it. Just let us know. I have nothing to do on Sundays from 11 till 1 but answer your fantasy questions. So, hey, you know where to find me. You hate my Chicago Bears takes, go right ahead. I love all that.
Hey, let's get it. Let's get it. Good luck week 1, everyone. Let's watch some football.